So, as high school counselors, this will be very similar to what your student has encountered throughout their years, and all with all their school counselors, I guess. But at the high school, you can see we really focus on, anything from problem solving, whether that's academic to college and career, helping them be academically successful, help working on their schedule. We'll talk a lot about that piece today, but preparing for college and careers. So we're really here to help them throughout that with all 4 of their years throughout high school, and prepare them for those goals after they graduate. I think it keeps switching. Mr. Carlson, is it working? Can you switch to the next slide?
All right.
Sorry. We're live streaming this too, I should say. So we're keeping this live for you guys. So we'll send it out afterwards along with the PowerPoint. So don't worry about, taking pictures or anything like that. We will send it out to you guys as well. So, but kind of our objectives for you guys, for your current 8th graders, we're going to talk about today is we're going to go over the timeline for course registration. We're going to review graduation requirements. So again, it's a lot to kind of take in, but we'll send out this information to you. We're going to talk about college admissions specifically too, if that is what your student is interested potentially is going to college. We'll talk through that piece. And then we're going to look at career-related elective choices, or just talk through that and how your student will be exposed through that, I guess, throughout high school and the different courses that we have available. And then truly, we'll talk about entering their classes for next school year. And yes. Can you go to the next slide, please? Just go up there real quick. Sorry about this. I'll kind of go over the timeline. It will show you here on the next one. We just want to sit in silence here. But truly, we have the 2 nights this week, and then they're there. Starting in March, that first week in March, that Monday, Tuesday, all 3 of us will go over to the middle school, and we're going to work with your students those 2 days, the 2nd and 3rd. So we'll start with them. We'll kind of talk through graduation stuff and requirements and 9th grade stuff. And then on the 2nd day, they actually put their classes into Power School for the request. And it just kind of saves it in there for them, so it's not set in stone. So they'll have time throughout the rest of that week to talk to you guys if they change their mind, or if you guys have questions, always reach out to us. All those things. But by that Friday, then you guys will get a notification to review them in Power School. And then by that next Monday, they're having you kind of sign off and accept that you reviewed the classes in Power School for that. So those are kind of the big dates coming up for the current 8th graders. Before we get into most of the presentation, we do like to just talk to you guys about some different acronyms or different words that you may hear throughout high school, or your students may hear as well. So the first one up there is PLPs, and that is their personal learning plans. I'll talk to you a little bit about that here in a second too, but it's really a tool that we use with students each year of high school, and they can update that at any time. They really just map out their 4 years of high school to help them plan beyond high school even. AP is advanced placement, and those are those rigorous college level courses that we do offer here on campus. Students prepare for a test at the end of the year. Depending on how well they do on that test, they can earn some college credit for that. So we do offer some AP classes starting even in 10th grade for students. Dual credit, you'll hear that a lot. Again, as students become, especially juniors, seniors, there's a lot of dual credit options available. And what that means is a student can truly earn credit in high school and in college. So we partner with Doane and SEC and Wayne State on different college options that they can earn while they're in high school. So there are a lot of good options available. They can, actually those classes you get a discount. It's not a true tuition. that you can pay for. So they do get that discount, which is a great opportunity while in high school if they would like to earn some college credit ahead of time. SENCAP is similar to dual credit, but that one's specific through SEC, and those are some online independent classes that students can take through the SENCAP program in their junior, senior year. So another great opportunity to earn some college credit. And then that last one up there is weighted courses. So you might hear this for some different students, weighted courses or a weighted GPA. We do offer classes that, as opposed to a regular 4-point scale, on transcripts you'll see the 4-point scale most of the time, but we do offer some weighted classes that they can earn that potential 5-point scale. So what that would mean is if a student gets an A in that weighted class, it truly reflects a B for their GPA. So it can be very helpful, whether it's for scholarships or college admissions requirements, all of those different things. And again, there's just specific classes that are weighted. So that would be like our AP and those dual credit options. All right, and then graduation requirements. I won't talk a lot about this because Mr. Cheney does kind of go into each category more, but just to give you guys an outline, so students need 240 credits by the time they graduate. Each of our classes are worth 5 credits per semester. So if it's a year-long class, like let's say biology, they take that all year, they will earn 10 credits by the end of the year for that course. So 40 credits of English, which would be equal to 4 years of English for that. So social studies, math, and science, those are all 30 credits. And so those, they would need equivalent to 3 years. 5 credits of physical education, so 1 semester of PE, 1 semester of health for 5 credits, and then 1 semester of computer science principles. That one they are encouraged to take in 9th or 10th grade. And then 5 credits of personal finance that they do in 11th or 12th grade. So 90 credits of electives, so those can include all those extra credits that they take. Maybe they take Spanish or band or choir, maybe they take extra math or extra science, which some students do to prepare for college. And those all fall in those elective credits. So a lot of opportunity to earn some of those credits as well. The classes that do have the asterisk up there for graduation requirements, those are ones students can take in 9th grade. So just to give you kind of a heads up for some opportunities for your students next year. And then at the bottom there are our community service hours. So by the time that they graduate, they do need to earn 10 credits of community service before May 1st of their senior year. And they can actually start on that this summer. As soon as they're done with 8th grade, they can start earning those 10 hours. All right, personal learning plan, that was kind of that first definition I talked to you guys about. But up here just shows an example of kind of what that looks like. So each student gets a copy of this in their Google Classroom. We create already in a Google Classroom class of 2030 is what they're in. And we just continue to utilize that Google Classroom as school counselors all 4 years of high school. So their personal learning plan, they get their own copy. And they can update this whenever, but each year we do work with students and we really focus on, especially that next year, what classes are you going to take? But they can outline all 4 years, again, just kind of depending on, you know, maybe you're in band and choir and you want to take Spanish, so you're trying to think, oh goodness, where can I fit in my PE or my health? And so this really helps to outline that so they don't feel like they need to get everything done their 9th grade year. It can really be helpful to lay that out or get to, put in those plans for whatever they want to do after they graduate for those purposes. So we do utilize this. Again, it's a roadmap when we do some career exploration things, so students can access that. So you can always ask them to pull it up and look at it while you're working with them throughout their years of high school as well. All right, and then Mr. Cheney is going to talk more specific on the actual graduation requirements.
All right, thank you, Mrs. Joel. Yes, I will kind of talk through some of the different graduation requirements and go into a little bit of depth of each subject area and some of the opportunities that we offer here. So I'm a visual learner. A lot of our students are visual learners, so a lot of these graphs that you will see will be similar to what we've looked at here. So as you can see for freshman, sophomore, it is pretty limited with that English 9, English 10, where every student will be getting like your reading and your writing involved within those subjects. Then once they get to their junior and senior year, that's where they have more opportunities, as you can see down below. So like then they can get more selections, more opportunities, more class options where they might be interested in. The grayish boxes there are the dual credit opportunities that we offer here on site at Norris. So a lot of our students will take advantage of that. Kind of like what Ms. Jill said, classes are cheaper here in comparison to universities. Then also too, a lot of the times our students really like to take advantage of this so that once they do get to college, they're already credits in. You know, whether that be 9 credits, whether that be 15, whether that be even more than that. So just to kind of get them kind of a step ahead. So here's just kind of a list version of what I mentioned there. So again, with freshman, sophomore, really that English 9 and English 10, then as a junior and senior, you have multiple different options there to with which English courses would fit best with them. So for math, Mrs. Joel touched base with that. You'll need 30 credits or 3 years for a high school graduation requirement with that. If your student plans to take or go to a 4-year school, especially UNL, we recommend UNL requires a 4th year of math. So your graph over there on the right-hand side is generally the pathway with what students take here at Norris, with Algebra 1, their freshman year, then into a geometry, Algebra 2, and then there's different options there as well. So then they can look into either the AP Pre-Calc route, or they can go into a technical math, AP Stats, in a college algebra. All of those classes are dual credit as well, so then that gives our students the opportunity to get those classes out of the way as well. Some students, some incoming freshmen who have already completed Algebra 1, they may be in like a geometry diff, so then they would just kind of follow that pathway over there on the right-hand side with the intentions that they would end up taking calculus as a C. So here's kind of a graph that we show our students that just kind of give them an idea of which math classes that they might be interested in taking for the possible career pathways that they might explore, they might go into. So we generally say if you have like a doctor or anything that will have a doctor prefix in front of it, then like the calculus will eventually be needed. Stats is a good option for that as well. If you're looking into like in nursing or another health-related field, then that's where either stats or college algebra, that those transfer over well for those field areas, those career field areas. Engineering is also another subject that's going to require a lot of math. Then with the business human services, that's with your stats, depending on with which level, some upper levels will need a calculus, and then with the trade programs, technical math is an excellent option along with college algebra. And again, all these are offered on site, so we are not just limiting our offerings to a certain clientele, we're trying to reach out to everybody. In this slideshow, again, we'll be sharing with you, so if your student's actually ambitious and knows kind of exactly with what they want to do, and if you're kind of interested to see with what level of math that they would need, that link on the bottom there is live to see like if UNL would require calculus for their intended possibility. Okay, so science. So again, you need 3 years of 30 credits for a science, for a high school graduation with science. We do have many other dual credit opportunities with that as well, and we have a lot of students here that take advantage of that. So on your pathway on your left-hand side is kind of the general pathway that I would say the majority of our students go, where they take biology as freshmen, and then they go into chemistry as a sophomore, physics as a junior, and then as a senior they have other elective options that are there on the bottom right of the screen. And then there is the other pathway too, with biology as a freshman, physical science as a sophomore, and then they can look to explore with whether they want to go into like a chemistry after that, or a or one of those elective opportunities. I will note here that if your student chooses to go that right-hand side, they still are receiving enough science classes and science lab classes to get to a four-year school. So a lot of the times the physical science is utilized like if a student is maybe struggling a little bit with biology, and physical science is a class where it kind of integrates both physics and chemistry into it, so it's just kind of like an entry level in both those subject areas. So if you know science isn't really the jam, they might need a little bit more additional support with it and everything. Maybe your pathway over there on the right-hand side might be a good way to go too. So, but yeah, it's both ways your student would be eligible for like a four-year school. So here's kind of some of the different examples that we have for dual credit with that as well. The two examples that we have up here, both of them are kind of a science-heavy field, with that being your health science and your engineering. But here's just some different opportunities that we offer here that would allow the students to get some of these, as with what you could call like a gen ed requirements done for once they get to a four-year school. So like your AP biology would be a dual credit, same with AP chem. Anatomy and phys right now is not dual credit. However, if a student is looking to go anywhere within that health science field, we highly recommend it. That way that the students are exposed to the material so that they have a better understanding with what to expect once they get to college. Same with engineering. Again, that AP chemistry and AP physics is a route that a lot of our juniors, seniors, primarily seniors, look to go to if they know that they want to go into one of these fields. Social studies, so 3 years or 30 credits with the social studies as well. As freshmen, they will be in American history with us. And then as a sophomore, that's when our sophomores have the first opportunity for an AP class. So if they want and if they enjoy like world geography, that type of thing, AP World History would be the option to go. It is an advanced placement class, so like with what Mrs. Jill stated before. Just know like they'll have to put in and they would have to accept that they would need that additional, they would have to put in more work outside of school with that. So I know with that class that there's more additional reading too that's outside of the classroom. Global is the other option for our sophomores. Then as juniors, they may have the routes where that they can go either a government for a semester or an AP government that would be a year long as well. Primarily juniors take that. It is open for juniors and seniors too. Then we do have some other elective options there with modern problem psychology and sociology. The two options there on the bottom are the dual credit options that we offer that we have a partnership with Southeast Community College. Those are two options for online classes. We highly recommend that the students take the classroom, the class here, like for instance, if it's a psychology, that they take psychology here on our site before entering that dual credit psychology option, just so that, again, that they have that knowledge before that they go into that college level. But the psychology and the sociology are both very popular dual credit options that we have as well with our partnership with Southeast. Okay, so PE, I'll kind of talk through these options as well. So PE choices, you have you get one PE class per semester, and there is and only one PE class per semester, but we just need one PE class for graduation requirements. And that could be either strength conditioning, a life sports, a team sports, or a unified life sports as well. For the strength and conditioning, it's going to be recommended for our student athletes. So once we do that registration, it's extremely important that they select with which semester that they want to take that strength and conditioning. So if they are in like a fall sport, making sure that they select it for semester 1 or in the fall, and vice versa with the spring. So just work with your coaches with that and get those recommendations in for that strength and conditioning. There is also a zero period option as well that is very popular. Zero period, the students will be here 7:15, 7:20, and then so that they will that will allow students to take a full schedule of other classes and elective opportunities, but yet still get that strength conditioning if they are an athlete or if they just want to get their PE credit done. For life sports, it's like kind of like a racket sport, so that could be like pickleball, golf, tennis, handball, I think some different options there. For your team sports, it would be like your soccer, basketball, more of the competitive sports. And then our unified life sports it's a semi-new class. We've offered it for a few years now. It's gaining a lot of popularity. That's where students are paired with someone with special needs or within our special education program, and it's kind of like a partnership with that. So for electives, we eventually, by the time that we graduate, we need 90 credits of elective opportunities. Here, that's where students can just kind of help explore the various career options. They can kind of maybe look into some possible post-secondary opportunities that they might be interested in and just see if that's right for them. They can prepare them for their college and their workplace. We also meet admissions requirements, so if they plan to go to a four-year school, then that's where like having those 2 years of a foreign language might be very important. That would fall into this category as well. Courses that would increase your scholarship opportunities. So if you're looking to compete for some very prestigious academic scholarships, then that's where your student might want to take into consideration the electives that they're into to kind of help put them, a step above. And then again, the courses of interest that make you a well-rounded student. So kind of like with what I stated before, just exploring different possible career opportunities, kind of getting a feel with what that you might be interested in. All right, now I will hand this over to Mrs. Meyer.
Okay. These are just some classes to make note of and things that we're going to make sure we talk to your students about because they block out a good chunk of their schedule. So some of those to note would be like if they're going to be involved in color guard, marching band. Band is a year-long class that takes up 10 credits of their schedule. Same with if they're going to try out for show choir, we're going to want them to plan that in their schedule because that's also a class during their day that will be 10 credits across the whole year. Spanish as well, which we'll talk more about here in a sec. Yearbook, which I know Mr. Carlson has already been posting the applications for. So if that's something that your student is planning on, we're also going to want to plan that in their schedule. And then we just kind of touched on PE. We do also have the option for 0 period PE if students have a really full schedule and are really involved in like band and show choir and can't fit it in their schedule, but want to do weights because of their sport or whatever the reason. So that starts at like 7:15 in the morning. So we call it 0 period because it's before the day gets going. And we'll kind of explain that to your students more when we meet with them as well. Okay, Spanish is kind of a hot topic. So first to clarify, you do not need Spanish or a world language. Spanish is the one that we offer here at Norris to graduate from Norris. So that's usually a typical question that we get. You do need a minimum of 2 years if your student plans to go to a 4-year college. So that's kind of where that distinction comes in. And then this helps us make an educated or informed decision on whether you should start taking Spanish as a freshman. So we meet with the 8th grade reading and English teachers to get a good feel for how the students are doing in those classes, because if those classes are not their strength, we usually recommend holding off on Spanish until they've kind of like got their feet under them in high school. If those are classes that they're doing just fine in, then it's probably okay to start Spanish as a freshman if that's something that they want to do. And then again, it kind of clarifies like if your student doesn't plan to attend a 4-year school or wants to go to a trade school or wants to go right into the workforce, all different options. The 4-year school might not be for everyone. Then we're not going to be talking about adding a world language to their schedule. This is just another visual to help think about Spanish and making those decisions and whether it would benefit you. So on the far left, kind of like I just said, trade school, working right after school, no foreign language would be needed. Thinking about a 4-year university, we're going to want you to take a minimum of 2 years just to get into those colleges. Just as an example for like the 2 to 4 year decision, UNL, just because that's a popular school to go to for graduating Norris Titans, you need 2 years to get into UNL, but then there's specific programs at UNL that would require 4 years. And so again, that's it's just a hard decision for kids to make, and that's part of our job, is walking through that with them, figuring out what they want to do. And some of them have no idea what they want to do, and that's also okay. But if they have a set goal, like I want to be an aeronautical engineer, and this is where I want to go to school, and this is what I want to do, then we want to research that with them and make sure that they're making all the best decisions during the 4 years in high school to set them up for success in that program. These are just some unique classes that require team review. So English Essentials is a class that is kind of a supporting class to the regular English 9 that all freshmen take. So again, this is determined by their math scores and by their 8th grade reading and English team. They do get credit for this class, just like an elective, but it's like an extension of English 9. So it's a whole other period where they're getting support in that English class, support on writing papers, reading, and all of those things. So that would be a team decision. Study skills, if your student has an IEP, they might have study skills built into their schedule, which is a time where they might be meeting with their case manager, getting extra help on assignments, or a variety of things. And then geometry div. So most freshmen are going to be taking algebra when they come up here for math. And Mr. Cheney kind of touched on that pathway. There are some 8th graders who are taking algebra now, and so they would probably start in geometry div as a freshman, and they're just kind of like one step ahead on that math path. But again, those would be decisions that we're making with your students and the 8th grade math department. Okay, these are some college admission reminders. So again, this is a little bit daunting because your kids are just about to be freshmen and we're talking about college, right? But again, we just put this stuff up here. We talk through this stuff with your kids every single year, multiple times a year, because we want them to understand it and start thinking about it. It does not mean we want them to make a decision for the rest of their life and stick to it and feel super anxious. We just want to start playing with them. So some of the things to consider, we touched on world language. I think math got touched on earlier too, but you need 30 credits of math or 3 years to graduate from Norris. But we would recommend that 4th year for anyone planning to attend a college after high school. For one, taking a year off math is not super smart headed into college. And 2, we are going to be working with them on whatever goals they have and recommending a math class their senior year specifically geared towards what they want to do. Chemistry is another one that some colleges are going to require for admission. Same social sciences, 30 credits are needed to graduate, but you might need that 40 credits to get into a specific college or a specific program within that college. And then lastly, selective classes. So that's those AP rigorous classes. So we do have students who come with goals of like, I want to go to an Ivy League school on the East Coast, and this is what I want to study, and I want to do everything I can to get in. And those application processes are much more intense. And so we want to make sure they're taking the hardest classes or most challenging classes possible in their 4 years here to be a competitive applicant. Okay, something else. So if your student has a goal of college athletics, we just ask that they tell us that, like, this is a goal I have. Who knows if I'll get there, but it's something that I think would be really cool, and it's a goal that I have for myself. Because we're going to keep tabs on them with their personal learning plan and make sure they're taking the right classes to be eligible. NAIA and NCAA just have specific rules to make sure their athletes are eligible, and so we're going to help track that with them. Community service, I think we touched on this earlier, but one of our graduation requirements is also 10 hours of community service. We will walk through with your students how to record those hours, get them approved, and when they're seniors, we do go through and track all of that so that they can graduate. I also tell all kids 10 hours is not that much. So I would recommend that you go above and beyond that, especially when we're applying for scholarships someday, and if you want to be a competitive applicant in college, it looks good if you're more involved in your community, but 10 hours is the minimum. I think I'm handing it over to Dr. Stegman now.
Hi everyone, I'm Nate Stegman, I'm the principal here at the high school, so thank you for coming in and joining us to do the registration stuff. Raise your hand if you feel like I am ready to register my 8th grader right now. That's okay, because we're going to be coming over and working with you guys. It is a lot, it's a very involved process, but our counselors do a phenomenal job of walking students through it, working with those 4-year plans, making sure that they're kind of keeping track of where they're at. What we invite you as parents to be a part of is to be having those conversations, talking about what the goals are, and ultimately you guys will sign off on the requests your students make each year for registration. One of the things that goes along with that is making sure that we are signing up for classes that we are committed to taking. So we do have a drop policy in the high school, and our drop policy is fairly strict for a reason. All of our staffing decisions that we make, all of our hiring, all of our schedule building and everything is based off of the requests that the students make. So we have, Mr. Jackson, I'm really loud. So the each student requests classes to fill a 7-period day, and we've got 750 high schoolers and our students in the high school. So we're looking well over 5,000 puzzle pieces that we have to try to fit together. That's a monumental task, and it takes us a few months to do that. So when students request classes, they're committing to it, and you need to look at it as a near contractual obligation. And so we take all those requests, we put them into Power School, we run it many, many times, we do a lot of shuffling things around, and ideally, we get every student the classes that they want to take. As freshmen, you are going to be on the lower end of the totem pole because we prioritize our seniors because they have fewer opportunities to get their classes in. So if you get some of your alternate requests, which you'll also put in, that's okay, that's going to happen, but each year you're going to get more and more and more of your primary requests. But we, again, make sure that kids get pretty much every class that they requested. So our drop policy is, at the beginning of the year, at the end of the year, we complete the registration process in spring. Parents and students need to consider this a near contractual agreement. So please note a few things. These are like, we get asked a lot, and we make these schedule changes, and we say no, because it's just not practical. So class schedules will not be adjusted due to student work schedules or transportation arrangements. Our school day is set, so we're not going to jostle things around if you've got a job or things like that as you get older. We won't adjust them due to before and after school extracurricular activities. Again, most of our students are involved in at least one activity. Our goal for every student in high school is to be involved in 2 activities throughout high school. And so when you factor that in with, between 5,000 and 6,000 puzzle pieces and all the activities, it's just not practical for us to be able to make switches based on your activities. It's based on, we won't change it based on your request for a different period, teacher, or lunch. And then we won't adjust them based on requests to be with your students' friends. Again, we recognize that friendships are really, really important, and the cool thing about high school is you're going to finally be not grade level cohort. I mean, like if you've got some students who are freshmen now, or you've got some students who are 7th graders now that you're friends with, when you're in high school, you get the opportunity to mix and mingle with some of the classes. So you do have opportunities for making new friends. Schedule adjustments will be considered for a few reasons. We do have a few exceptions to our drop policy, and those are a documented health condition which makes participation and success in the course impossible. So let's say you're taking strength and conditioning, and then you're either diagnosed with a condition, or let's say you've got some catastrophic injury, and it's like, I just can't do strength and conditioning. Then we'll make those kinds of changes, and we work through our counselors with that. The teacher of the course recommends the student be moved to an alternate course to be misplaced based on academic ability. So we do a lot of conversations and looking at our students' data in the spring when we register, but we also know sometimes we make our best prediction, and maybe we recommend a student to be in a certain math class or to be in a certain English class, and we get in and the teacher's like, you know what, this class is way too easy for this student. Or on the flip side, fail a prerequisite course, so for example, if you failed pre-calculus, you're not ready to take calculus. So if you requested calculus, but things don't work out and you don't pass pre-calculus, then we would call and make a change to your schedule. A student is a senior with incomplete graduation requirements, and then students requesting to move to a more rigorous or dual credit course within the same department. So we want students to achieve and challenge themselves, and so we don't make changes to your schedule because you get in class and like, this is just kind of challenging, I just want to take it easy. We don't do that. But if you get in there and you're like, hey, I signed up for this class, but maybe sign up for global perspectives. You go, no, I really do want to challenge myself, and there's room in this, let's say, example class. AP World, I really want to take that one. If there's room and we can make it work, we change your schedule if you're wanting to go to a more rigorous course. Any questions on the drop policy? Great. The other piece is attendance in high school. So attendance in high school is really important. Attendance in school, period, is really important. But the reason why it becomes even more important in high school is because now you guys are earning credit towards graduation. So every semester long class you take is worth 5 credits. You have to earn 240 credits to graduate. You can take a maximum of 70 credits per year, so that means the maximum number of credits you can earn is 280. You need 240. So you do have a little bit of wiggle room. And when you get to your senior year, you can do things like work release or teacher assistant or work-based learning and things where you're not here on campus. But those opportunities start to disappear if we're either failing classes or we're not here and we're not earning all of our credit. So our policy is if you are excessively absent, that means 10 or more unexcused absences per semester, you lose half of the credit for your class. So again, if the semester class is 5 credits, if you lose half credit, you only get 2.5 for the class. That becomes an issue, if that becomes a pattern, because suddenly your 40 credits of wiggle room that you have can dwindle fairly quickly, especially if maybe we don't pass a class here or there. Excused absences are all medically excused illnesses by a medical professional, also things like funerals, college visits, things like that would be excused absences as well. Unexcused absences, those would be those illnesses where maybe we don't go to the doctor, maybe we just, not feeling so great, so we stay home. Again, we all understand that people get sick, and sometimes I get sick and don't feel great, should be at school, but just a day I'm not going to the doctor for it. That's totally fine. The way I compare this with students is I work all year round. I get 11 unspecified days to use for that. You guys get 9 per semester before it becomes an issue. So you can take 9 days for whatever reason before it becomes an issue, and you get to the point of losing credit. And if you turn in doctor's notes, those are excused. So we just ask you to be mindful of getting your students here to school because there's a very, very high correlation between students who are present every day and students who do well in their classes. So examples would be vacations, parent requests, parent calls, student sick, truant, or providing child care for younger siblings, etc. Those would all be unexcused absences. And then to avoid half loss of credit, class credit, do make sure you bring in all of those appointment notes. So if you go to the dentist, you go to the doctor, you go to PT, ortho, any of those things, just make sure you grab a note. And most of our providers are really, really great about just handing them to you as you leave. Any questions about attendance right now? The other thing I'll throw out there is sometimes we have unique situations. We do recognize that there's sometimes things that don't just fit within the general experience for some students. So for example, we've had students who do nationally competitive rodeo or have been on junior Olympic teams for gymnastics. So or maybe they're going to do some kind of internship. But there's things that are unique situations like that that are definitely great experiences for kids. We are willing to work with families on those, but you have to meet with either myself or Dr. Jones, our assistant principal. We come up with an attendance plan and agreement. We kind of schedule out when those things are going to be completed ahead of time and make a plan with the teachers to do that. So we're willing to work with families and things. The biggest piece is just make sure you communicate with us and plan with us ahead of time. Okay, top quiz, because you're starting to nod off. How many on FIST 5, so students, you should know that as a FIST 5, how many Spanish classes do you need to graduate from Norris High School? Okay, we're going to dispel it because I still saw 2 fingers. It is 0.
registration coming up for your current 8th graders. But we'll go in and we'll work with them, so hopefully they start asking questions and talking to their teachers, talking to their friends. Maybe they have an older, sibling that they want to talk to, and hopefully you guys as well on these course options. So we want them to have those conversations. They'll complete a scheduling worksheet with us in class. It's just kind of a worksheet to help them maybe map out, since they don't have an official personal learning plan started yet. And then they'll put those requests in Power School, and then again, when you guys receive that notification to go into Power School and review that, that will just be due by that March 9th date. So, and then kind of looking ahead to a heads up for you guys, our back to school night at the high school, we really opened that up. It's for our incoming freshmen. It's kind of our freshman night for them, and for you guys too. So keep that in mind. There'll be a presentation called Hints to High School from our admin. Put that on, kind of talking more in depth about things at the high school to get your students kind of in that transition mode before they start their official 9th grade year. But they can meet their teachers and find their classes as well. So an exciting time for them. Again, we threw out a lot of information and a lot of different points of resources and things. So we do have all of these listed here at the end of the presentation. Again, we'll send this out. These are the links right there. But our high school counseling webpage is pretty important. I feel like through each year of high school, there's a lot of information on there. That's where we house a lot of our scholarships as they become, they get closer to their senior year. So that's a good point of reference for things. The curriculum guide for next year is updated and available. So it talks about course descriptions, has those prerequisites in there, the graduation requirements. There's a lot of good stuff in there that you can look through. The catalog is also listed on the Norris website. We have a list. This is just a Google doc that has all the list of the courses, so you can kind of just get a general list of what are all the ag courses, what are all the business courses, all of those as well. This one up here too with the dual credit courses. So I know I talked about dual credit at the beginning. A lot of families kind of want to know what is available at Norris, what college credits can my student earn by the time they graduate. So that's what that is there for. It outlines all of those courses, what college credit they'll earn, how many credits, how much it costs, all of those things too. So a great reference as well. And then our drop policy we just talked about, and then that registration worksheet too. So a lot of good things here at the end of the PowerPoint for you guys to reference as well. And our emails are up there too, so please don't hesitate to reach out. We're excited to work with your 8th graders and get them transitioned to high school. So that concludes our presentation. Do you guys have any questions? Maybe? Well, if there's no general questions for everybody, we'll be here for a few minutes. Otherwise, like I said, please reach out to us at any time or as you guys are planning and having those conversations with your students. So thanks again for coming.